All right. Well, this is Bob Andelman. You're listening to the Mr. Media radio interview with sports writer Pete Williams, author of The Draft and 5 core performance books with trainer Mark Verstegen. And I want to ask you, what is the basic idea behind the core performance series? Who are those books aimed at?
They're aimed at pretty much everyone. It's not a younger crowd. It's not a bodybuilding crowd by any means. They are fitness books by all means, but what Mark has done, he's really been one of the pioneers in core training, which the fitness magazines have sort of hijacked or refer to anything that helps you develop washboard abs. But Mark's philosophy is broader than that. You look at the core, it's really your shoulders, your hip, and your midsection. That's where all human movement comes from. And we live in this sedentary world. I mean, I'm sitting at my desk right now, and what's happening? I'm subconsciously becoming hunched over. My shoulders are rounding, my hips are tightening up. That's a very bad thing. That can lead to injuries and long-term deterioration. What this program does, Mark's Core Performance program that I've been honored to write 5 books about with him, it opens up your body. It helps you rekindle those natural movement patterns to help you move with your hips, with your gluteus maximus muscles, shall we say, your shoulders, and also your midsection, rather than putting the emphasis on the limbs, which can result in long-term back problems, knee issues, and the like. So, though it is certainly a physical fitness program, and for anyone looking to get a lean physique, as they might in any other workout regimen, it'll do the job. But Mark's philosophy is, we're going to spend the time to do that. Why not do something that's going to make our body more functional for everyday movement, give us more longevity, give us more quality of life as we go down the road.
Now, Pete, you couldn't see me, but as you were talking about, hunching over the desk and, the back being curved, I suddenly, viewers, and you'll see this on the replay later, but viewers will know that I sat up much straighter at my desk while you were talking, saying that, trying to set a good example, but I'm afraid it's just not going to do me any good. Are these books, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's endurance, and there's for golf, and there's now the new book for women. Are they intended for the average person who goes for a run on the weekend, or is it people who that kind of weekend warrior mentality that go out and they train hard, even though they're not going to be pros, they may not ever run the Boston Marathon, or is it really for a professional athlete?
Well, it's definitely not for the professional athlete, even though that's Mark's legacy, his heritage, with what he deals with in training pro athletes. But really 3 of our books, the first 2, the original Core Performance, the second Core Performance Essentials, and our most recent Core Performance Women, are aimed at a broad mass market audience, anyone from 8 to 80, really. And we could probably go beyond that age bracket. So it really, yes, appeals to them. If you are somebody active, you already have a workout regimen, I think you'll find this will help you do your workout a little more efficiently. You'll find you get better results with this in terms of, again, working the stabilizer muscles of your core than you would with a lot of fitness regimens that still have that heritage from 1970s bodybuilding routines. And then we did 2 other books. Core Performance Endurance is a little more of a hardcore book for people who are already involved in running, cycling, swimming, and of course triathlon. And then we did one, Core Performance Golf, which isn't particularly strenuous, but it geared more toward the golf crowd. People don't tend to think of golf as a strenuous sport, but it's a very one-sided ballistic sport. And because you're using one side of your body in a very sort of violent, high-torque fashion, you're really setting your body up for a lot of muscle imbalances and other back and joint problems down the road. So that's geared specifically to the golf crowd.
Any chance of a Core Performance Lazy Bastard edition?
Well, we do put a part of our books, I know in the Core Performance Essentials book, we did a section we called for the deconditioned person, who I think would fall into that category, somebody who's been doing so little for so long that they have become deconditioned, because you never want to jump from nothing even to a minor workout regimen. And so this really brings you in, it inches you along very slowly so that you don't hurt yourself along the way.
Now, before we have to wrap up, I want to touch on, and we can transition this very nicely. One of the guys that your co-author Mark Verstegen has trained this past year was Evan Longoria, the Gold Glove All-Star third baseman for our Tampa Bay Rays. So I have to ask: Is Mark Verstegen the reason that the Rays are 16-5 as we speak?
Well, he's had some luck with a lot of their players. He's trained Carl Crawford off and on Mark, along with his staff members out in Phoenix for, I think, about 7 or 8 years now. And Carl will be the first to tell you he's had great success training with Mark. Evan Longoria this past winter. Now Mark has trained Pat Burrell for probably longer than Carl Crawford, and which is kind of interesting because those two guys nearly came to blows at one point last season. But Pat Burrell has struggled a great deal, certainly with the Rays. But he did have some very good years with Philly, and even though his numbers aren't huge this year, thus far with the Rays, he's really getting some clutch hits. So if nothing else, I guess Pat Burrell is a long-term project.
There you go. That's a nice way to put it. So before we have to go, what's next? What are you working on?
Well, one of the interesting things I'm doing now is somebody who's sort of morphed a bit from sports writer to fitness writer. I'm working for Competitor Magazine, which is owned by the Competitor Group out in San Diego, which owns a number of endurance sports events. They now own this chain of 10 or 12 endurance sports magazines, including Competitor Florida, which is what I've been working for. So for me, it's an interesting nexus I have between sports, business, and fitness, and all kind of overlaps and weaves together. And I think that makes sense because for all the talk of our sedentary, technology-based, obesity epidemic society that we have, I really think for a lot of people, they're getting away from being spectators and really wanting to be participants now more than ever. I'm not sure the factors behind that, but it is definitely a phenomenon, and that's something that my career is becoming more of these days.
Well, folks, listen, you can find Pete Williams' new book, Core Performance Women, as well as all of his other books, including The Draft, in great bookstores everywhere or online at mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. And you can learn more about my friend Pete at www.petewilliams.net or follow him on Facebook. Pete, you're a great guy for coming in at the last minute, and thank you so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
Thanks, Bob. Really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, good to talk to you, my friend. And folks, for more original interviews with your favorite sports writers and athletes, you can surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. And please take advantage of this great offer for Mr. Media radio listeners. Go to www.audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia to get a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. Again, that's www.audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia for your free audiobook. And folks, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with Mr. Media. Thanks for listening. See you next time.